The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. But the second greatest trick might have been hiding in plain sight throughout one of cinema's most celebrated plot twists. The 1995 neo-noir crime thriller The Usual Suspects left audiences debating whether the mysterious Keyser Söze was real or merely a fabrication. Through careful analysis of the film's hidden clues, we can build a compelling case that the limping, seemingly weak Roger Verbal Kint was indeed the legendary crime lord, a truth many viewers missed out on their first viewing. Little disclaimer here, the video discusses Kevin Spacey's role in The Usual Suspects as part of the film's analysis. I do not condone his real-life actions or allegations. My focus is strictly on cinematic storytelling. Perhaps the most brilliant hidden clues lie in the etymology of the names themselves. Kaiser is derived from the German word for emperor or king, while Söze comes from Turkish, approximating the word for verbal or talker. Together, they form King Verbal, remarkably similar to Verbal Kint. The linguistic connection isn't coincidental, but rather a deliberate breadcrumb left by the filmmakers. McQuarrie originally used the character name Keyser Söze after one of his law firm supervisors, but slightly altered it out of concern. He ultimately chose Söze after discovering it in a Turkish dictionary where it comes from the idiom söze bogmak, meaning to talk unnecessarily, too much, and cause confusion. A perfect description of Kint's persona during his interrogation. The initial group dynamic reveals Kint's questionable connection to the other criminals. While the 5 suspects are first placed in the holding cell together, everyone seems to know each other except him. McManus knows Fenster, both know Hockney, and all 3 know Keaton by reputation. However, only Keaton acknowledges knowing Verbal, with no explanation of how he fits into their criminal world. This social dynamic suggests the limping con man doesn't actually belong to this criminal circle, but he has inserted himself for his own purposes. From the very beginning, the film subtly connects Verbal and Söze through clever editing techniques. Whenever characters mention Keyser Söze's name in dialogue, the camera immediately cuts to Kint's face. This visual association occurs repeatedly throughout the film, creating a subconscious link between the seemingly innocent con man and the legendary criminal mastermind. Each cut serves as a whispered suggestion to the audience that perhaps these 2 characters are more connected than they appear. The most damning physical evidence of Kint's true identity appears in the film's opening and closing moments. At the start of the movie, when Söze is about to kill Keaton, we see close-ups of hands playing with a distinctive gold lighter and wearing a gold watch. At the film's conclusion, when Kint collects his personal belongings from the police station, these same items, a gold watch, gold lighter, and cigarettes, are returned to him. These distinctive accessories serve as concrete proof linking him to the mysterious figure seen earlier. It's a revelation that seems obvious in retrospect, yet most viewers miss this crucial connection on their first viewing. Throughout the film, Keyser Söze is described as a master of deception who spreads rumors about himself to obscure the truth. Kint demonstrates this exact quality, skillfully spinning a complex narrative that redirects all suspicion toward Dean Keaton while positioning himself as a helpless observer. He tells Kuyan the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist, effectively describing his own strategy of hiding in plain sight. This manipulation tactic is what makes Söze so dangerous. He's always operating behind the scenes, pulling strings while others think they're in control. Sociopathic tendencies emerge in Kint's interactions with Agent Kuyan, who insults his intelligence and dismisses him as an incompetent criminal. Rather than showing offense, the suspect plays into this perception, using Kuyan's ego against him. He crafts an elaborate fiction from elements visible in the interrogation room. The Kobayashi-branded coffee mug, names from the bulletin board, and other various objects, demonstrating the calculated deception of a master manipulator. In a moment of near revelation, Kint briefly breaks character during interrogation when Agent Kuyan confidently presents his theory about Keaton being the mastermind. The camera catches him struggling to contain a telling smirk, almost laughing at how completely Kuyan has been deceived. He quickly composes himself, but this momentary crack in his facade reveals his true amusement at the detective's misguided conclusions. The film presents several contradictions in Kint's physical capabilities that subtly undermine his disability act. During interrogation, he asks Kuyan, "Can I have a light?" and struggles pathetically with the cigarette. However, in earlier scenes, particularly at the unfinished building, he confidently uses his lighter with perfect dexterity. Even more telling, after the lineup at the beginning, he's shown smoking a cigarette while watching Keaton, having lit it himself. At the end of the movie, Kint is seen holding his cigarette between his index finger and a thumb rather than between the index and middle fingers, a common Turkish smoking style, subtly hinting at his connection to Söze's Turkish origins. Speaking of these origins, he demonstrates specialized knowledge inconsistent with his purported background. When observing the ship they plan to rob, Todd Hockney asks what language the men are speaking, and Kint immediately identifies it as Hungarian. This linguistic knowledge would be unusual for an American small-time criminal, but perfectly reasonable for someone of Turkish origin like Söze, especially given the historical tensions between Hungary and Turkey. The contradiction between Kint's claimed abilities and demonstrated skills extends to his marksmanship. He rhetorically asks Agent Kuyan, "How do you shoot the devil in the back? What if you miss?" implying uncertainty about his shooting abilities. However, during what he calls the Redfoot job, Verbal hesitatingly executes a jeweler named Saul with a perfect headshot between the eyes, a level of precision requiring significant skill and experience. This contradiction reveals his carefully constructed facade of ineptitude. Similarly, when confronting the jeweler, Keaton hesitates to shoot, showing reluctance, while Kint shows no such hesitation, behavior entirely inconsistent with his presented identity as a timid, non-violent con man, but perfectly aligned with Keyser Söze's ruthless reputation. The film visually contradicts his story through clever camera work. When he claims to have witnessed Keaton's death from behind rope bundles on the dock, the tracking shot shows him stopping short of ever reaching this hiding spot. The camera then shows the empty hiding spot with no one looking through it, proving he couldn't have seen what he described from his alleged position. One of the oddest clues comes from a strange detail about bodily functions. During interrogation, he tells Kuyan, "When I get dehydrated, my urine gets all lumpy and gelatinous." Later, when describing Söze on the ship, he mentions, "When he pissed on the fire to put it out, it was all gelatinous and lumpy." This identical, unusual description suggests he is inserting personal details into his fictional narrative. And perhaps the most direct revelation, during Kuyan's aggressive interrogation, when asked about witnessing Keaton's death, Kint actually confesses, I did kill Keaton.
I did kill
lying
Keaton.
to me!
But Kuyan, shouting over him, misses the latter part of the statement. Due to the overlapping dialogue, neither Kuyan nor most viewers catch this momentary slip. When Mr. Kobayashi meets the crew in Los Angeles and mentions working for Keyser Söze, everyone reacts with fear or recognition except Kint, who uniquely acts confused and asks, "Who's Keyser Söze?" This calculated display of ignorance about his own alter ego underscores his commitment to maintaining his cover identity. The statistical improbability of Kint's survival is perhaps the most glaring clue. Out of all the criminals involved in the ship heist, he's conveniently the only one who survives apart from the Hungarian witness, Arkosh Kovács. Everyone who could identify him as Söze ends up dead, including all 4 of his accomplices. This suspicious luck makes logical sense only if Verbal, Söze, orchestrated the entire operation with the specific intention that no witnesses would survive. When the team receives envelopes from Kobayashi detailing their mission, they're distributed in the precise order that the team members are killed: Finster, Hockney, McManus, and finally Keaton. This precise foreshadowing demonstrates Kint's complete control over and planning of the entire operation. Even Söze's iconic outfit offers a clue. The distinctive long black trench coat and hat that Keyser Söze wears during the ship massacre are briefly shown hanging in Arturo Marquez's room earlier in the film. This visual detail suggests Söze improvised his disguise by taking Marquez's clothes after killing him, a practical detail that makes the character's actions more realistic and calculated. Arkosh Kovács, the burned Hungarian survivor, provides the final detail of the puzzle. Working with police through a translator, he describes Söze as the devil himself and helps create a sketch of the criminal mastermind. When Agent Jack Baer examines this sketch after Kint's departure, he realizes the features match the con man's appearance, delivering the film's shocking twist that confirms what all the other clues had been suggesting. The brilliance of The Usual Suspects lies in how it tricks us into participating in our own deception. Just like Kuyan, we follow the misleading breadcrumbs until the stunning revelation forces us to reconsider everything we thought we knew. As Kint's limp disappears with each step away from the police station, we realize we never truly saw the real Keyser Söze, only the persona he wanted us to see.